Good morning, everybody. Welcome to City Hall, welcome to Council Chambers, and
Todos
welcome
bienvenidos
to
a
the
la
meeting
Cámara
of
de
the Los
Concilio
Angeles
junta
City
del
Council for
Concilio
today,
de Ciudad, hoy
Tuesday,
martes,
February
febrero
17,
17,
2004. The City Council meets every
Se junta
Tuesday,
todos los martes,
Wednesday, and
miércoles y
Friday
viernes
at 10
a
a.m.
las 10
Meetings
de
are
la
open to the
mañana.
public,
Está
and we
abierto
do
para el
invite you to join
público.
us. For members of the
Invitados a
public
estar con
unable to
nosotros.
attend
Los
council
públicos que no
meetings,
pueden
we can be
asistir
viewed
pueden
live
ver
on
eso
your
por
cable
vivo
station,
en
Channel
la
35. We can
la
also be viewed
35
live
cable
via
y
webcast from the
por la
city's
página de la
homepage
ciudad.
or heard via council phone. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Voy a hacer la lista.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Han, Labange, Ledlow, Miskowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smithby, Regosa, Weisstein, Padilla, 13 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The council is officially
okay,
in
thank you.
session. Before beginning with the matters appearing on today's agenda, this being
La agenda
Tuesday and
de
the
hoy es
first meeting of the
martes.
week, it is our custom to participate in the Pledge of
Participar.
Allegiance. Let me ask Councilmember Cardenas to lead us this week, and then he also has a very special presentation.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to ask to come forward the Consul General of Mexico in Los Angeles, por favor.
Cónsul General de México.
Today it gives me a great honor and great pleasure to welcome Rubén Beltrán Guerrero, the new Consul General of Los Angeles, to our
Cónsul de
wonderful
México,
city.
esa gran ciudad.
I'm an American citizen and very proud,
Y muy orgulloso.
yet my roots come
Pero
from
mis
Mexico.
raíces vienen de
I'm very
México.
proud to say
Estoy
that
muy
both of my
orgulloso de que
parents,
mis padres,
Maria and Andres
María y
Cárdenas,
Andrés
were
Cárdenas,
raised in Jalisco,
crecieron en
Mexico,
Jalisco, México,
and came here to
vinieron
California,
a California.
much like many, many
Como
families
muchos
do today.
familias lo hacen hoy.
And because of that
Y por
population
eso, esa
and that
población
will and hope
y
of
esa
so many
esperanza
people
de
that
mucha
come from
gente
Mexico,
que vienen
we
de
have a
México,
consul general
tenemos
that
un
serves
cónsul
at the
general
will
que
of the
sirve
people of Los
frente de la
Angeles,
gente de Los
the
Ángeles.
largest Mexican
La
population
población más
outside of
grande de México fuera de
this-
México.
this- the United States of Mexico
Los
itself.
Estados Unidos de México. Sí.
It gives me great pleasure
Me da
to
gran
introduce to
placer
you
presentarles a ustedes
Rubén Beltrán Guerrero, who is a man on a
Es
mission,
un
a
hombre con
mission
una
to
misión,
serve.
una misión para
He's been
servir.
serving the
Ha
public
servido al
for over
público por
20
más de
years.
20 años.
And he has an extensive
tiene
experience and knowledge
experiencia y
on international
conocimiento.
affairs, whether it comes to
Cuestiones
business
internacionales,
or
negocios,
understanding the
o
families
entendimiento a las
who
familias
reside and live in other
que residen
countries,
en
like the
otros
Mexican
países como
families
las
here in Los
familias
Angeles.
mexicanas aquí en Los Ángeles.
It gives me great pleasure to
Me da gran
also
placer
say
también decir
that
que
he is not only a man
es un
dedicated to
hombre
public
dedicado al
service,
servicio
but a man who's
público,
very
un hombre que
dedicated and very
muy
capable to have
dedicado.
done many, many things in his life, but he has
muchas cosas
chosen
en su
to
vida con
dedicate
sus
himself
hijos,
to the betterment
el
of Mexicanos
mejoramiento
throughout
de
the
los
world,
mexicanos por
and
todo el
certainly
mundo
here in
y
Los
servir
Angeles.
aquí en Los Ángeles.
Earlier, we were speaking with some
Hace un rato
council
hablamos
members
concejales,
and the consul general, and one of the
y
things
una
that
de las
struck me
cosas que me
that I was very delighted to
tocó
hear,
es que
that
me
his
gusta decir
mission
que
is
su
much
misión
like ours.
es como la de
His
nosotros. Su
mission is a
misión
mission
es
of
una
making
misión
sure that
estar
we
seguro de
raise
que
the expectations and the lives and the livelihoods of all people,
de toda la
not
gente,
just of one person or
no
one
nomás de una
community.
persona, una
He
comunidad.
believes that all
Él
people,
quiere que toda
if
la
we move
gente
together
se
and raise
mueva
our
gente,
expectations,
levante
raise
sus
the level
esperanzas,
of our standard
nivel
of
de
living,
nuestro estándar,
and if we assist each other
y de
and turn to
asistirnos a
help each other,
nosotros y
that is the
ayudarnos
best
a
way
nosotros
for
es la
any
mejor
community
manera
to
de cualquier
improve.
comunidad para
So with
mejorar.
that, I
Entonces,
give
con
to
eso
you
les doy a
the new
ustedes
Consul
el
General of
nuevo
Los Angeles,
cónsul general de
Rubén
Los
Beltrán
Ángeles,
Guerrero.
Guerrero.
Muchas gracias,
Thank you very much.
Consejero Cárdenas. Thank you very much, Councilmember Cárdenas. It is indeed a pleasure to be
Es un
here
placer estar
today,
aquí hoy,
this morning, and appear
esta
before you,
mañana,
because
porque
I am so proud to
Yo estoy
be
tan
in the
orgulloso
middle
de
of
eso.
this wonderful community that
de esta gran
I
comunidad,
cannot think
que no
of any
puedo
other
pensar
position of the Mexican
de
Foreign
posición
Service more
servicio
important in that
extranjero más
sense than this one.
importante que es.
Quiero decirles que estoy tremendamente orgulloso de estar aquí frente a ustedes, porque no puedo pensar como diplomático un lugar más importante para servir a México y servir a nuestra comunidad como esta. Indeed, I was discussing with you and
Estaba
other
discutiendo con
of your
usted
colleagues this morning, and briefly
mañana, y créame
I
que-
said what I expressed what I
Y
consider to be
expreso lo que considero que sea
the mission that I
la
intend
misión
to
que
fulfill
intentan llenar
here when in Los
aquí
Angeles.
con Los Ángeles.
I cannot see a better
No
way
puedo ver de otra
to
manera
serve the
servir
Mexicans living
los
here
mexicanos viviendo
than striving
que
for the
tratar
betterment of the
por un
community as a
mejoramiento
whole.
de la comunidad.
I do see
Yo veo
that we have only one
que
community with
tenemos
several
una comunidad y
components,
varios componentes,
not several communities
no varias
that
comunidades.
are in disarray or living in a separate fashion.
La manera de que vivimos.
Así que les puedo decir con gran claridad que no veo diferentes comunidades. Lo que entiendo, lo que veo, es una sola comunidad con varios componentes. Y creo que no debemos de considerar que haya comunidades que vivan separadas, sino vemos una sola comunidad. I'm convinced that the most important riches of this beautiful city, founded in 1781, is its own diversity. And whatever we do, we have to strive
Lo que
to
hagamos
make
tenemos
this
que
city
hacer
and
la
the
mejor
county
la ciudad.
take advantage of that
Toma
diversity.
ventaja de eso.
Whatever we do
Lo que cualquier cosa
that
hagamos
will hinder
que
that
aumente
ability
esa
of the
comunidad,
society
la sociedad,
will harm
entonces
tremendously
daños
our duty here.
tremendamente.
So I consider you,
Entonces, yo los
if you
considero
allow
a ustedes, si se
me,
me
my
dejan.
colleagues in that sense.
Mis aliados en
Creo
ese
que
sentido.
la riqueza más importante de la ciudad de Los Ángeles es su propia diversidad. Y creo que cualquier cosa que hagamos por promover esa diversidad estará en la vía correcta. Si hacemos cualquier cosa en contra de esa diversidad, podemos dañar la habilidad de Los Ángeles de sacar ventaja de su riqueza más fuerte. Así que en ese sentido, si ustedes me los permiten, me considero su colega. I thank you, Mr. President. I thank you all
Gracias, señor presidente,
to
a
have the
todos
privilege
que me tienen el
to be here
privilegio de estar
today
aquí
before you.
ante ustedes.
I owe you
Les
the
debo
allegiance
lo
of
más
that,
rico de
what I
eso,
mentioned, I consider
lo que mencioné
my
que
mission here.
considero mi misión aquí.
So I commit myself before
Yo me
you
dedico ante
to
ustedes
work
para
always
trabajar
bearing in
siempre
mind the benefit and the
con el
betterment
beneficio del
of the
mejoramiento
community
de esta
as a
comunidad
whole.
completa.
Gracias por recibirme, gracias señor presidente, gracias a todos ustedes y me comprometo a dar mi mejor esfuerzo teniendo en mente esa misión que es el mejoramiento de la comunidad en general. Muchas gracias.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President.
Gracias, consejero presidente.
Council Guerrero, I just want to
Councilor
welcome you
Guerrero,
not only
más
to
que
Los
dar la
Angeles, but to the
bienvenida.
1st District. As you
Primer
know,
distrito,
that
como
is
saben,
where your office will be located.
su oficina va a estar
Looking forward to
localizada.
working with you. I want to
Trabajar con
acknowledge
usted.
Assistant Chief Gascon
El jefe
and
Gascón,
Chief Brand, as well as the Mayor,
Brand,
for their
también el alcalde
focus
por
in
enfocamiento.
cleaning up MacArthur Park. We have a police presence, 7 days, 24 hours.
7 días, 24
But I believe
horas.
Pico Union
Yo
Westlake
creo
is like
que
a microcosm for many of the issues
Por unas
that are confronting
cuestiones
not only Mexicanos, but most folks who come from other
de
countries.
la gente que viene de
And
otros
that is our
países.
ability
Y eso es la autoridad.
to bring up that sense of
Con ese
confidence,
sentido de
to call the
confidencia
police
para
when they
llamar a la
need,
policía cuando se
that they should
necesita.
be treated as human beings
debe de-
regardless of the legal
importa
status,
estatuto
and that we are one
legal.
community in that regard.
De esa manera.
And for that, I want to
Y por
thank
eso
you
quiero
for
dar
your
las gracias
message,
por su
that
mensaje.
within the diversity,
Y dentro de
we
la
do have one
diversidad tenemos
community.
una
For that, I
comunidad y
thank
por
you,
eso
and
doy
look
las
forward
gracias.
to
Espero
meeting with you
estar con
and
usted
sharing some time
y
in the first district.
compartir tiempo en el
Hopefully
primer
catch up
distrito y entonces
on all the
llegar
economic
el
development,
desarrollo
housing
económico,
activities that are going on, and look forward to
actividades de
working with you in
vivienda y
the future.
trabajar con
Muchas
usted en el
gracias.
futuro. Muchas gracias.
Mr. Garcetti.
Señor García.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Muchas gracias,
And
presidente.
Mr. Ambassador,
Embajador,
bienvenidos.
bienvenido.
Es un gran honor, it's a
un
great
gran
honor to
honor
have you here
tenerlo
today. We recently said
Nosotros
goodbye
recientemente
to your
dijimos adiós a su predecesor, Marta Lara,
who did an exemplary job
un
here
trabajo ejemplar aquí.
before you came. But when we were saying
Pero
goodbye
cuando
to her,
estamos diciéndole
one of
a
the things
ella,
I mentioned
una
is
vez
that
que le
the
mencioné es que
relationship between Los
la
Angeles
relación
and
entre Los
Mexico
Ángeles
is
y
probably
México
as
es
strong as
probablemente
it's been since
fuerte
this
como
was
ha
part
estado
of
desde que
Mexico.
fue parte de México.
And that
Y
relationship
esa
has been
relación
built
ha
by
sido
many people
construida por
over
mucha
the years,
gente
but
por
you're
los
really stepping
años,
in
pero
at a
usted
special
está
time, I think,
pasándose el tiempo
relationships
especial
between
Las
the two
relaciones
entities.
entre las dos
But it was a trip
ciudades,
that we
pero
took
fue
down
un
to
viaje que
Mexico
tomamos
to
a
meet with
México para
President
estar
Fox
con
and
el
to
presidente
promote
Fox
tourism
y
and
promover
trade,
el turismo.
the work that we've done very
El trabajo
closely
que
with
hemos
the
hecho
consulate on
el
the
consulado en la
matricular issue,
cuestión de
whether it's
matrícula,
looking more
ya
broadly
sea
at
más
the establishment for the first
el
time, like many other cities
establecimiento,
that
como
were
muchas
behind, like
ciudades que
Houston,
estuvieron atrás,
Chicago, and
como
New York,
Houston,
the
Chicago,
establishment of an Office of
el mayor
Immigrant
establecimiento
Services
de
and Language
servicios
Services, which
migrantes y
this
de
year we
lenguaje
will
este año
bring into effect for
vamos a
the
traer
first time.
efecto la
We
primera
really
vez.
are at a moment
De veras estamos en
where
un
we
momento
do
donde
interact as colleagues, and it's wonderful to hear
trabajamos
those
como
words
colegas,
because
estamos muy
I
gracias
think
por
we
el
see
porque
ourselves as
parece que
serving
vamos
many of the very
sirviendo a
same
muchos
constituents
los mismos
who don't really
constituyentes que no
care where one government ends and another one begins. They want
nos dan
basic
un
services
gobierno
and a
de
basic
servicios
quality of life.
básicos y calidad de vida.
Another thing that I just
Otra
put on
cosa
the
que
agenda
hemos
that I
puesto en la
think we can
agenda
work
que
on
debemos
too is
trabajar es,
we have in some ways
de
two
alguna manera
parallel
tenemos
economies
dos
here in
economías
Los
paralelas en
Angeles,
Los Ángeles.
and we will reach out to you
Y vamos a llegar con
to
usted
help
para
us with bringing
ayudarnos
those
a
who may
traer
be
esos que a lo
in a
mejor
shadow economy into the
están en la
mainstream
economía.
economy. The Matricula was a part of
La
that, but
matrícula
also
fue
making
eso,
sure
pero
that we
estar
can
seguros de que
introduce folks to all the
presentamos a la
programs that are
gente,
out
los
there, while at the
programas
same
están ahí al mismo
time
tiempo.
asking them to be
Pedirles que
responsible
sean
to join
responsables para estar
those mainstream kind
esos
of revenue generators as well here
generadores,
is a way of strengthening the
esa manera
community
de
by making sure we
forzar
don't
la
have two
economía,
parallel
no
communities
dos
but a
comunidades
single
paralelas,
one.
pero una sola.
And I just wanted
Pues
to
quiero yo
thank you
dar
again
las
for
gracias otra
your
vez
wonderful presence
su
here this
gran
morning,
presencia esta
to welcome
mañana,
you.
darle la
This is
bienvenida.
a city, and I know
Es
Tom
una
Bonds
ciudad
may
que
say
Pablo
something
Bancho puede
about this,
decir
but
algo
in
acerca, pero
1781,
en
those 42
1781,
pobladores
los 22
established,
poblados que
44
establecieron,
set out and 42 made it.
los que hicieron.
Two of them got sick on the way.
Dos se
But the
enfermaron.
42 that came here in
Los
1781, you
42
can come each Labor
pueden
Day
venir
and
cada
make
día de
that same
trabajo y
trek
hacer el
from
mismo
the
viaje
Mission in San
de la
Gabriel
misión a
here
San Gabriel,
to the Olvera Street,
en la calle
and you
Olvera,
can walk
y
alongside
puede
13th
caminar en
generation
las 13 generaciones en
people who
angelinos
have been here
que han estado
since
aquí
those original
desde
families
esas
who have
familias
descended from it,
originarias
and
que
that rich
descendieron.
history will only get
Y su
stronger and
historia va
stronger.
a
So
ser más
welcome, and thank you for your
gracias
great
y
words
por
this
su
morning.
gran trabajo, palabras esta mañana.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, Council General Guerrero,
Gerardo General
welcome to Los Angeles.
bienvenido a Los Ángeles.
You have big shoes, and
Grandes zapatos,
it's great that you do
es
because
bueno
you
que lo
have big
tenga
shoes to
porque
fill.
tenga zapatos de los que
Council
llena el concejal.
Ambassador Lara
Embajador
was
Lara
a great
fue
leader
una gran líder
in this community.
en esta comunidad.
And already the first day, I
Y el
think it
primer
was,
día creo que
your first day was the
su primer día fue el
23rd.
23.
I remember that.
Yo recuerdo eso.
It's my 51st birthday, and the next day
55
you were
años.
out
Al otro
working
día estaba
with
trabajando
me and others
conmigo y
to
otros
make sure
para
that
estar
people
seguros
that
de
are
que la gente
eligible
que están
for
elegibles
legalization
para legalización
are able
puedan
to obtain it. We're
obtenerla.
working
Están
to
trabajando para
create more citizens
crear más
in this great
ciudadanos en este
country,
gran país.
and that I think is
Yo
indicative
creo que es
of the kind of
indicativo de la
proactive
clase de proactivo.
way that you're going to be
manera que
conducting
va a
yourself in the
conducir
city, and
la
while
ciudad.
it should be.
manera que
In
va
my
a ser.
mind, when you
En mi
look
mente, cuando ven
at this city and the
esa
role of
ciudad,
the
el
Council
rol del
General of
Consejo-
Mexico,
Consejero-
this
Esta
city,
ciudad,
I don't need to remind you,
necesito recordarle,
with the exception of Mexico
con la
City,
excepción de la Ciudad de
the
México,
largest
es la
population
población más grande
of Mexican descendants,
descendientes de
Americans,
mexicanos
in
americanos.
most cases,
En
but
casos casos,
of
pero
Mexican descent than
de
anywhere in the world
mexicano
except
que
for
no
Mexico
parte
City.
aparte de
And
la
the
ciudad.
idea that
Y
they
la
would
idea
send
de que ellos
you
lo mandaran a usted.
shows the high regard
Enseña lo que
the Mexican government has for you.
el
You got a
gobierno
lot of
tiene,
work.
usted tiene mucho trabajo.
There are some, interestingly
Hay algunos
enough,
intereses
on the federal level,
en el nivel
Mr.
federal.
Zion and I and
El señor
this
y yo
council
y este
have
consejo
opposed it,
han
have
opuesto.
taken the position
Tomamos la
that this
posición
city
de que esta ciudad
should engage
debe
in
hacer
federal immigration work,
inmigración
that
federal,
we should
que
be
nosotros
the
debemos
immigration
ser
service.
los servicios de
We
inmigración.
believe
Nosotros
on this
creemos
council
que
floor
se concilia
that that's not the
que eso
job
no es el trabajo
of the city council, it's
El
not the
Consejo
job
de
of
la
our police
ciudad, de
force.
nuestra fuerza de
And
policía.
Chief Gascon is here with
Gascon
us,
está aquí con
who's
nosotros.
always supported Special
Nos ha
Order
soportado la
40, and all of us intend to work
nosotros
with you
intentan
to
trabajar con
ensure,
usted para asegurar,
as Councilmember Reyes
como el concejal
said,
Reyes dijo,
that people
que
are
la
willing to
gente
step
está
forward,
dispuesta para
are
venir,
willing to
están
participate,
dispuestos
are
a
willing to
participar,
testify, and
testiguar,
not be fearful
y no
that
tener miedo de
the
que
government's going
el
to go after
gobierno
them.
va
So
por
we
él.
welcome you to Los
Le damos las
Angeles. We
gracias a
look
Los
forward to
Ángeles.
working
Esperamos
with you
trabajar con usted
on the very many
en los
efforts,
muchos esfuerzos,
citizenship,
ciudadanía,
legalization, and other
legalización y
issues.
otras
And,
cuestiones.
we look forward to
Y esperamos
a great relationship in the way that we had with
la
Marta
relación que
Lara.
tenemos con Marta Lara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Villaraigosa.
Muchas gracias,
Mr.
Villaraigosa.
Sain.
Señor Sain.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Buenos President.
Good morning again to you.
Buenos días otra
I
vez.
also want to introduce your
Más quiero
assistant,
presentar a su
Assistant
asistente,
Counsel General Salvador
Assistant
Munoz,
General
who's
Salvador
here
Munoz, que está
joining
aquí
us this morning,
con nosotros esta mañana.
who's also a part of this
También es parte
delegation.
de esta delegación.
I didn't want to neglect the fact that there's going to take more than one of you to help us
ayudarnos a
with
más a
the
nosotros.
concerns that we have for the city of Los Angeles. Councilmember Reyes, who represents the area where your office is located, it's an area that they're revitalizing. But I want to invite you to the community that I represent, along with many of my colleagues, in the San Fernando Valley, where we have wonderful opportunities and wonderful people out there who are working, looking for the American dream. We have NAFTA, the trade agreement between Mexico, United States, Canada, United States. We want to embrace that. We want to embrace that on a local level and have those opportunities. The land of opportunity, that's what Los Angeles, that's what this country is all about. And it was a pleasure meeting you this morning when we discussed your vision, the opportunities, what you want to bring about, the dialogue, the business opportunities, and your background to make it all happen. And one thing that I learned from our police chief, Bill Bratton, is partnership. And partnership is what it's all about. It's working in partnership to make things happen. And I pledge the partnership with you and with Mr. Munoz, who's going to help bring about the change that we want to make for the people that live in Los Angeles in this region and the opportunities that they dream about. I wish you well in your endeavor, and you've got my support, and I'm sure all my colleagues will be partners with you to make that come about. And thank you for being here this morning. Mr. Munoz, we don't want to ignore you. We want to thank you, too. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zine. Councilmember Padilla.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Ambassador, also for performing your duties here as the Consul General, but I'm told correctly you've been an ambassador in the past. I always think you're the highest title. Ruben will do it. We've been called first, right? I just too wanted to join the chorus, echoing the welcome to you, not only to City Hall, but to the city of Los Angeles. I wanted to expand a little bit on what Councilmember Garcetti was saying. He was going through the various layers of how we, as a city, and your office has been working together with our Office of Immigration, Economic Development issues, etc. I think the pinnacle of that cooperation and collaboration was the progress we made with the matricula, which really not only captured, there you go, not only caught fire here in Los Angeles, but was really a stimulus for what proceeded to happen throughout the country in a big effort to enfranchise Mexican nationals living in the United States further into civic life, into community life, regardless of where they were living. I think, too, part of our history and part of a demonstration of our cooperation and collaboration in the past, having worked together on resolutions calling to some not so positive news and dynamics in Mexico. For example, Las Mujeres de Juárez. And that whole concept, and your government is working very diligently on it with a presentation and a resolution adopted by this body that helped elevate awareness and a consciousness about what's going on in Juárez, Chihuahua. And finally, I think it's only fair to remind you to continue to look to us not only as the city of Los Angeles, but specifically as the second largest city in the United States of America. When there's issues and discussions of policies at the regional level, at the state level, and especially at the federal level, please look to us for support, please look to us for partnership, please look to us to play a role in voicing what's best for the Mexicanos living in Los Angeles, because what's best for the Mexicanos in Los Angeles is in the best interest of Los Angeles, in the best interest of this country. And so whether it's this recent guest worker program that's being discussed, about several programs in the past, I think you have a commitment here and a consensus to work towards the legalization of people who have been here for years, if not generations, working hard, contributing to our economy, paying taxes, and we feel deserve better in terms of civic enfranchisement and respect. Welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. Next, I'd like to recognize somebody who doesn't have a formal title, but we consider him an ambassador of Los Angeles, Tom LaBonge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garcetti. And Ambassador, welcome to Los Angeles. We had our committee, Mr. Ludlow and I were a little late. Mr. Padilla was excused for your reception this morning. But we spoke of Mexico City in our committee about arts and parks, because Los Angeles, Berlin, and Mexico City are the three cities in the world that have the most murals. And I'm sure as you tour around Los Angeles, you do assignments, you see a lot of the murals. We're talking about restoring them, what is there. And Mr. Garcetti, when you spoke about the original 44 Los Pobladores, it's interesting to note 26 of the
26
44
de los
were of
44
African American descent, which
Afroamerica
accents
que
the real
aumenta
diversity
la
of how this
diversidad
city
de
was
cómo esta
founded
fue fundada
and its history,
y
which is
esa
so
historia que es tan
important. But
importante.
also,
Pero también
your role.
el
You're
rol
one
de
of
ustedes,
88
uno de los
consulates here in
88
Los Angeles, next to
aquí en Los-
Washington, D.C.,
después de
New
Washington,
York
D.C.,
City,
Nueva
Los
York y
Angeles
Los
has the most
Ángeles tiene
consulates. And you have a
consulados
very
y usted
important
tiene
role
un
which helps the people
de
of your
rol
country
ayuda a la
as
gente de
they
su país
interplay,
para jugar.
as they live here, as they work
Viven aquí,
here,
trabajan aquí,
and as we
Y
promote
cuando
each
nosotros
other's
promovemos
areas,
a
which
todas
is
las
so
áreas que
important.
están
And I think
importantes
nothing's
y yo
more
creo que nada es
important
más importante
to us to continue
para que
that
nosotros
strong
continuemos
bond.
este
We have a sister city relationship between
fuertemente
Mexico
abrazo
City
entre
and Los
México,
Angeles.
desde
We'd
México y
like
Los
to see that
Ángeles.
enhanced
Queremos ver eso
more
aumentar
and
más,
working with you.
trabajar
But
con
we want
usted,
you to
pero
enjoy
también
and
queremos
love
que
this city
disfrute y ame esta
as much as you
ciudad
can
lo más que pueda,
because you're here
porque
and then
usted
you're
está
going to be
aquí y
sent
va a estar
somewhere else in the
en
world.
otro parte
I know a
del
counterpart
mundo.
who served their country
Alguien
was
más que
here
sirvió a su
in
país
Los
estuvo aquí en
Angeles
Los
and he
Ángeles
loved it so much.
y lo amó
I don't know
tanto
what he
que
did to
no
his
sé qué
bosses
lo
because
hizo
the
su
next
jefe porque
assignment he
él
got was out of
fue fuera
Mongolia.
de
You
Mongolia.
know, so I hope
Entonces
your
espero
stay
que
here is good
si
and
estaba
that
aquí
you
sea
do the great job for your
bueno
country.
y que haga buen trabajo para su
And you
país
enjoy this
y
city
disfrute
and
la
the
ciudad
people
y la
here
gente
and
aquí
continue the
y
effort
continúe los
to work the
esfuerzos de
relations
trabajar
between
las
our
relaciones
country
entre nuestro
and
país
your country, which
y
is
su
so
país que es tan
important
importante.
to our part of the world.
Nuestra parte
Welcome
del
to
mundo,
Los
bienvenido a
Angeles.
Los Ángeles.
Thank you, Mr. Labange.
Gracias, señor Lamancha.
Speaking of welcome to Los
También
Angeles, I'd like to give the
bienvenida a Los
certificate
Ángeles,
of
me doy el
welcome
certificado de
to Ruben
bienvenida a
Beltrán
Rubén
Guerrero.
Beltrán.
And with that, instead
Y
of
con
us,
eso, en
him
vez
and
de
I
que
taking a
nosotros
picture
tomamos
together
el
in the
retrato
spirit
juntos en el espíritu,
the ambassador's
el embajadores.
mission here in Los
La misión aquí en
Angeles
Los
of all of
Ángeles,
us working
de
together.
todos trabajando juntos.
And also because he showed me
Y
a
porque
picture
me
that was
hizo
a
un
little
retrato que
outdated
sea
of
un
the
poco
council
fuerte
members.
de
Why don't we take a
que
picture with them
disfrutamos uno
together?
con nosotros
Just take a
juntos.
60 seconds and in the
60
spirit of
segundos,
Tom
en el
Labange, let's all
espíritu
get
de
together
Tom
and take a picture
Un
with our
retrato.
new ambassador.
Con nuestro embajador.
Okay, well, 60-second recess for a group photo.
Esos 60 segundos.
Thank you very much,
Muchas
Councilmember
gracias, concejal
Cárdenas.
Cárdenas.
Colleagues, if I can
Colegas, si
ask
puedo
us to come back
pedir que
forward here
regrese el orden aquí
so we can tend to our
para
business
pues
of the
hacer el
day.
negocio de hoy.
Council members,
Concejales.
going once,
De una vez,
going twice.
dos.
Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Smith moves and Mr. Garcetti seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Sikowski moves and Mr. Parks seconds.
And, Mr. President, this is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Public comment period for today's meeting. I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on non-agenda items. Public comment period for today is closed. Next item, please.
Items 1 through 13 are items for which public hearings have been held. Item number 1 is confirmation of Mr. Yair Landau to the Board of IT Commissioners.
Let's hold item number 1 temporarily on the desk and go through and dispense with consent items. Colleagues, that leaves items 2 through 13 now before us. Request for specials. Ms. Han.
If you'd like to request item 2 be called special.
Item 2, call special by Ms. Han. Mr. Labange. Number 5, call special by Mr. Labange. Colleagues, let me also announce that items 2 through 13 have had public hearings in committee. A motion from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearings. Items 2 through 5 have been called special. Any other requests on items 3 through 13? If there's no further requests for specials, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those items are approved. Next items, please.
Items 14 through 45 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Members, items 14 through 45 now before us, and without objection shall be considered by the City Council today. I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. Public hearings on items 14 through 45 are open and closed. Members wishing to call specials, Mr. Villaraigosa, which item? 4, so we'll have to reconsider that item. 14 through 45, any specials? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved. Mr. Parks.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think I slept through one. Could I get number 4? Number 4 on special and ask for number 31 continue to Friday.
Okay, here we go. Mr. Villaraigosa actually moved for consideration of item number 4. Mr. Parks slipped, not slept. Let's reopen the roll. Let's open the roll on reconsideration. Item 4, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is reconsidered and called special by Mr. Villaraigosa. Let's open the roll on reconsideration of item 31. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
31 is reconsidered, and Mr. Parks, you wish to continue item 31? For what time period? Till this Friday, February 20th. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 46 is the closed session.
And we have received a request from the City Attorney's Office to refer this matter back to the City Attorney's Office. Members, without objection, item 46 is so referred. Next item, please.
On the continuation agenda, item number 47 is an item for which a public hearing has not been held.
And
10 votes for consideration.
I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on item 47. Public hearings are open and closed. Mr. Weiss, on item 47.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a verbal amendment, which would add to item 47 that we are approving this motion with the understanding that the event sponsor will reimburse the city for all fees and costs associated with this event and meet all insurance requirements of the city. With that said, I would approve.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Members, any objection to the amending motion? If not, we'll consider item 47 as amended. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 1 was called special. That is confirmation, Mr. Yair Landau to the Board of IT Commissioners, and there is a committee report recommending approval.
If Mr. Landau comes forward, colleagues, we do have a committee report recommending approval. Members wishing to be heard at this time, beginning with Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, Mr. Landau. I really look forward to your service on this commission. You had a chance. I don't think you. You you didn't have to budget your
No
entire
tuvo que,
afternoon last week to be in City Hall, and I really appreciate
todo
you
su
spending
horario la semana
some
pasada por
extra
estar en el
time with
concilio
us
y
in the
pasar
committee
tiempo
to hear
en la
about
comunidad
the
para
concerns
oír las
that all of
preocupaciones
us,
de
I don't want to
todos
speak for
nosotros.
my fellow committee
quiero
members,
hablar por el del comité,
Mr. Garcetti and
pero
Mr. Parks,
Garcetti,
but
señor Parks,
I think we all
yo creo
have
que todos tenemos
serious concerns about the manner in
preocupaciones
which
serias en la manera
the
que
department that
el
you,
departamento
if not
que usted
oversee,
sí
at least
ve
advise
o
in
aconseja
the new capacity
la
is
capacidad de
operating.
esta operando.
And there were a couple things that
Un
were on
par
our
de
agenda
cosas que
last
nuestra
week,
agenda que
which we're going to continue to look
vamos a
at.
continuar
One
viendo.
was a
Una fue
violation of city
violación
rules
de la
relating to
reglas
department
de la
travel
ciudad de
at a time when the city is operating.
cuando la ciudad está operando.
Technically,
Tengan en
we're not
cuenta
yet in a budget deficit, but we really
el
are,
déficit
because
de
what's coming in is not matching what's going out right now. And secondly, we had serious concerns relating to the manner in which certain contracts were let out. An end run was basically being done around the mayor's office, which had refused to approve a certain contract, and then, well, the contractor got a contract by going to a different prime contract. And I guess the attorneys, the legal advice being provided by the city attorney's office wasn't good enough for this department, so they basically hired their own in-house counsel. We have serious concerns about the manner in which this department is being run. It won't be exactly what you're called upon to do in the role of a Board of Information Technology Commission, but I nonetheless wanted to hear your thoughts as someone who has a lot of management experience in the private sector. Hear your tentative current thoughts about what you've seen and what you think would be good public policy going forward in that regard.
Well, I did have the pleasure of sitting in on that meeting. I have not had a chance to get a lot of specific information about the budgets or the mandates of the ITA to this point in time. And obviously, I think given the city's budget situations, it's a difficult trade-off, because clearly this is an area where I think growth would be beneficial to the city as a whole. I think providing more people more access to the city via internet protocol communications and improving the city's internal IT situation, I think, will benefit the city as a whole, but obviously you have to balance that with difficult budgets, and clearly that has to be done in appropriate contractual manner. I think certainly welcome the opportunity to assist and help in the management of that. I certainly think that we should be able to improve a lot of things in the city, even given the current budget constraints, and certainly do so in a manner that is respectful of the appropriate contractual relation.
I appreciate that, and I really look forward to your service. I mean, you have, you know, really a unique set of qualifications amongst any of the commissioners that I know of in the city. And I'm really looking forward to your work, both on the policy end, but also please feel free to reach out on the management end as well. There's an awful lot coming down the pike on the policy end, and you touched on a couple of those things. Right now, I'm a little more narrowly focused on the management end, because if you don't have confidence in the people who are doing the day-to-day management, those are people who are also the principal policy drivers as well. And I'm sure it's the same in your business as well. You need to have faith and confidence just in the basic management skills of the people running the operation. And I really look forward to your service on this commission. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just was interested in, you sat through a good portion of the committee meeting the other day, and as you said, got the gist of it. From that, what is if you can draw some conclusions of your concerns on the issues that came before the committee?
Well, clearly this is an area in the IT sector where the city subcontracts a great deal of work, both in terms of physical material and also in terms of installation and management. And obviously, management of those subcontracts, and both from an appropriateness standpoint and also from an efficiency and productivity standpoint, is very important. So certainly, having the opportunity to sit down with the CIO and the other executives and actually go through the major contracts and look at what the city is getting for its dollar and what the city's objectives are going forward, I think would be something I want to spend a lot of time on.
Also, what I think came out of the committee that we're most concerned with all those efficiencies, effectiveness, and all those kinds of priorities, that it also has to fit within the rules of the city and the directives of the mayor and the city council.
I think integrity has got to be first and foremost in any business decision.
The other thing I was wondering, when you made your comments earlier about improvements, just from what you understand about the IT function in the city and your background, where do you think we can make the most gains and improvements, where we should be focused on? We have a tendency to look at projects like renewal process and pricing, but sometimes we sacrifice that to the overall policy as to where we should be driving the entire city IT process.
Well, I think access of the citizens to the city, I think would be an area that I'd be particularly interested in taking advantage of increasing broadband infrastructure to facilitate more and frequent communications between city council and the city offices and the broader constituency. I think that the opportunity to have more information available to the citizens and for the citizens to convey more information back to the employees and elected officials of the city via internet connectivity is a big opportunity. I also think that increasing broadband access throughout the city and making it available to as many people as practical, given constraints, is a really big opportunity as you look at where technology is progressing, both from a wired standpoint and increasingly a wireless standpoint. One of the things I think I would be interested in looking at is providing wireless access to people in city offices, because I think it's a very empowering thing to have broadband access to the internet, and it could be a relatively inexpensive thing for the city to do, providing a lot more open and direct communication between the city and its citizens.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Mr. Labange.
Señor Labancho. Gracias por servir a la
I
ciudad de los
just wanted
ciudadanos. Quería yo
to stress the point, even though
ese es el
there's
punto, aunque
challenging funding cycle that we're going to be in for a while,
que vamos a tener un
but the
rato,
goal,
pero
which
la
we always
meta
kind
que
of try to
todos
get to, is to achieve technology, to improve. And so many of our departments are left without technology due to budget challenges where we make personnel decisions over technology decisions, when technology sometimes could help our personnel. And I just hope you'll be a passionate advocate for technology. I'm sure that's why Mayor Hunt chose you. I know there's other people who are very involved with the department and the commission who have that passion, and feel free to push that aspect of it. And members, what I said when I had a chance to chat with the commissioner designee, as you know, in a restaurant you have A, B, and C as a list that the county does by the county health department. I would like to see a rating for our departments to help us, especially at budget times. Are we achieving an A, B, or C rating with our departments as we push technology? Because some areas, even of the police department, do not have voicemail. So if you're a detective and you would hope you would have voicemail, but someone writes it down on a piece of paper, a message that may or may not be received by somebody. Other technology, you see small municipalities like Mr. Garcetti is familiar with that have technology for the police officers. That is extremely important to try to have around. I know in our own area, Ed, at Northeast, they had a problem with technology in the phone system, and we had to push IT, and IT was there to push. We just had to find the money to get it done. But all those are very important. I just wanted to put that little tip. I wanted to thank you. I want to ask you, do you have anything you want to say to the council?
I'm looking forward to serving on this commission. I think it's a tremendous opportunity, and I hope to serve the city well.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. And colleagues, I think this is a wonderful appointment. Most commissioners, all commissioners actually that come through for confirmation bring certainly their resume, their experience, and their talents to city service. And here we have another one of the great commissioners that brings a tremendous amount of resource behind him for the place of employment, again, for the city's benefit. So we're looking forward to your service. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Unanimous approval. Thank you for serving the city.
Thank you.
Forthwith, please, on item number 1. Next item.
Item number 2, called special by Councilmember Han.
Ms. Han.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. I continued this item last week, and it was to approve the tariff increase that the Port of Los Angeles has been allowed to implement. And the reason I continued it was to get back sort of a discussion going on whether or not we could use those tariffs to help encourage terminal operators to begin opening their gates during off-peak hours, in the evenings, on the weekends, because as you know, that's something I'm really pushing for, is it doesn't make sense to just move cargo during peak hours of the day. That's, in my opinion, why our freeways are congested, our bridges are congested, and frankly, it's not, in my opinion, the most efficient way to move goods at the third busiest complex in the world. So what I would like to do on this is add an amending motion to approving the tariff increase. And I would like to move that the tariff rate be decreased for terminal operators at the Port of Los Angeles who engage in extended gate hours for movement of goods. And I want this to report back to the Commerce, Energy, and Natural Resources Committee in 30 days on the feasibility of this tariff reduction. In my opinion, it's something that is within the power of the Port of Los Angeles to either do or not do. And I try to find things that they control, that we control, that might begin to encourage this off-peak cargo movement. So I hope you will accept my amendment to this motion.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Other members wishing to be heard on this item? If not, let's open the roll on item as amended. There's no objection to that. Let's close the roll and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith, please. Mr. Cardenas?
9 and 10 forthwith.
Forthwith on items 8, 9, and 10. Next item, please.
Item number 4, call special by Councilmember Villaraigosa.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, Mr. President, members, I called the item special because Mr. Parks had a few questions of transportation department personnel. And so, Lon, come on up.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just, in looking at the rate increase, I realize it's not been increased for a couple of years, but it was substantial in one regard, about 31%, and the other one's about 19%. And it appears we did this in 0203, but just, I believe, on CPI as opposed to other costs. And I thought it'd be important for the public to understand what was the basis for the rate increase and why a substantial hit in one given year, and then also on the rate of pay, which is going to hit primarily the poor areas that use the emergency services probably more so than others. If you have insurance, it appears you it's covered, but if you have no insurance, then what's the impact on that?
Okay. In answer to your first question, the last time we did a rate study was actually not in 0203. It was actually, I believe, in 0001. That was almost 3 years ago, and that's why there was a reason for what looks like a substantial rate increase. We were supposed to have a CPI increase in 0203. That did not happen because both of those matters went to the CAO at the same time. And so the CAO thought that instead of taking two ordinances back to back within about 2 months of each other, it was best just to really look at the rate study that was before them, investigate the protocol that the department used in order to come up with the new rates and recommend a rate. So this rate did look at industry-wide charges throughout the county and recommended the rate as you see it, and it was concurred by the CAO. We do have staff member to answer the second part of your question, which is how you feel the rate would impact those residents who might not have insurance. So Sean, if you could answer that specific question.
Good morning, Sean Hierty with Department of Transportation. I wasn't here for the question, so from...
I was just wondering if we take into consideration the usage of the emergency services primarily
from, I would assume, poor communities, and if you have insurance, you're pretty well taken care of, but without insurance, what impact that would have on those without insurance with the increased rates? And then secondarily, what is the process if someone without insurance uses a service? How do those collections come about?
Well, these rates were raised to bring up the ambulance rate industry's rates up to par. Most fees were not increased substantially, but there were a handful of fees that were raised substantially, but those are the fees that usually are not charged because those services are not very much rendered. Maybe less than 5% of the time those charges are rendered. And as far as what happens in emergency, well, these ambulances are not supposed to provide emergency service. Those are rendered by 911 and the police and fire department. These are non-emergency actions, and I mean, if something comes up and there is an emergency, then they will have to get the orders from the fire department to respond.
Okay, these are non-emergency. How does the community access, and this is transportation from a hospital to another hospital?
Yes.
Or from a doctor requesting transportation, but not an emergency call?
Non-emergency calls. Emergency calls are responded to by fire department, so you're correct.
And then, just to go over it again, just for the public to be clear, we have not raised these rates since 0102?
Actually, we have conducted rate studies to increase rates once in 2001. And in 2001 and 2002, we just raised the rates based on CPI, Consumer Price Index, which was very minimal, about 3%. And we kind of plan on doing rate studies to make sure we adjust the rates. And I should mention, some of the rates will come down. For instance, the mileage rate did come down 25 cents from the previous year, because when we conduct rate studies, we want to make sure that fair rates are being charged by the ambulance companies, and if the rates come down, then so be it. But our plan is to conduct rate studies every other year, and in between years we do a CPI adjustment. Now the adjustment is based on the Consumer Price Index, so we have so to answer your question, yes, the last time a rate study was performed was in the year 2000.
Also, in looking at the current rates, where are we now compared countywide? Are we in the top 3, or where did this bring us to the top 4 or 5? Or what?
Well, we are on average. The way we adjusted these rates, we developed a formula which is based on conducting a survey of all the ambulance companies, the actual charges that are being charged. That's one entry. The other one is a CPI adjusted rate of the previous year, plus a survey of 11 counties surrounding Los Angeles County.
But when we look at surrounding counties, are we comparable now?
There are some higher, some lower. Basically what we did is these three numbers were added and averaged out, and the rates we are charging, we are recommending for approval are an average, which we call a blended result of this formula. Which is basically keeps us right there in the middle, not high, not low.
Okay, so we're in the middle of the range in the county.
Yes, sir.
And just to reemphasize, the people that are using these services are generally people that have insurance. Because of the factor in how they're being used, and as opposed to the emergency service.
Yeah, these are mainly people who are who are using the service to go to dialysis centers or to non-emergency medical treatments.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this item? If not, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 5, called special by Councilmember Labange.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'd also like to ask that we have representatives, Ms. Schwartz, come forward from our Office of AIDS, Coordination, and excuse me for not having everyone here, but we have county commissioners here as well. We're going to have a brief report on this item, which is very important, to talk about establishing a priority that we have for reimbursement when it comes to funding for AIDS prevention and awareness. Ms. Schwartz, would you lead off, please? Identify yourself for the council.
Good morning. I'm Wendy Schwartz with the AIDS Coordinator's Office, and I'm happy to be joined here today by Gunther Freehill with the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services and by Bradley Land, who is a commissioner on our local planning body for Ryan White CARE Act dollars. We are very glad to see this resolution in City Council today because we are extremely concerned about potential impacts of limitations to Medi-Cal and to the AIDS Drug Assistance Program, known as ADAP, that have been proposed as state cost-cutting measures. While we realize these are difficult financial times, these programs are critical lifelines for the uninsured and underinsured people living with HIV and AIDS in our community, and we cannot afford to cut those lifelines. In addition, the Centers for Disease Control are now placing increased emphasis on HIV testing for hard-to-reach populations. This means more people will learn their HIV status. However, if limitations are placed on ADAP and Medi-Cal, these people may not have adequate access to medication and treatment after learning they are HIV positive. The community has also asked us to stress the importance of maintaining AIDS research and prevention programs since the epidemic has changed and the need for new prevention strategies is greater than ever. The AIDS epidemic is still a crisis in our community, and in the long run, the human and fiscal cost of cutting AIDS programs are very high. That is why we believe this resolution is an important step to ask our state leaders to seek a budget solution that does not endanger the health and lives of our residents with HIV and AIDS. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Freehill.
Good morning. My name is Gunther Freehill. I work for the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services, the Office of AIDS Programs and Policies. This afternoon, the County Board of Supervisors will be considering a resolution very similar to the one before you now, and we hope to have that pass as well so that there's a clear voice from Los Angeles County about the importance of the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. Los Angeles County is home to about 35% of all people with HIV, with AIDS in California. Yet over half of the AIDS drug program is consumed here in Los Angeles County because people with AIDS in Los Angeles County are more reliant upon public funds because they're lower income and they have fewer other resources in order to provide for their health care. The prospect of a waiting list in Los Angeles County will mean perhaps by after 12 months, more than 1,500 people will be on a waiting list for basic AIDS treatment. And if we were to try to fill that cost with other funds, it would cost in excess of $4.5 million. The cruel reality is that a number of people with HIV and AIDS, about 7.5% of all of our clients, come into the system after a full-blown AIDS diagnosis. And the prospect is very real that a person will be told at the same time, first that he has HIV, secondly that he has an AIDS diagnosis, and third, there's nothing that the public health system can do for him. It's a reality that frightens me, frankly, and I urge your opposition to it.
Thank you. Mr. Land?
I'm here today as a person who has survived living with HIV/AIDS for 21 years. I'm not here just as a commissioner representing the HIV-positive people in the 5th District, but as a private citizen that has bore witness to too much death in one lifetime. I cannot imagine what it will be like for people living with HIV/AIDS to be told at the time of diagnosis that they will have to be put on a waiting list for life-saving medicines. I cannot imagine what it will be like for family members to hear that if Brad, Dean, or Susan could have lived one more week, they would have been put on the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. I cannot imagine what it will be like for people to be told there is a company, a pharmaceutical company, that may have an opening in a compassionate usage program for you in 1 week, or people that have co-infections, comorbidities, such as hepatitis, told that although there is a great medicine for you to take, you will have to make a choice in treating your HIV and AIDS. When I was appointed to the Los Angeles County Commission on HIV Health Services, we had just lowered the hospice care services line item to an all-time low. And we were able to invest in a continuum of outpatient medical care and ancillary services and removing barriers to care. In my early 20s, I was asked to co-facilitate a new support group called Positive Teens and 20s. And this group grew to numbers of just above 100 in the early 90s. I would watch this group then thin in the following year and was challenged with opening the doors to my own home and turning my own living room into a hospice with beds and futons lining the walls. In the weeks to come, I was then challenged with, rather than saving life, rather raising funds for weekly burial expenses.
costos de
I
enterrar.
would come home
Y
from
yo
work
venía
before I
de
was
trabajar,
disabled,
que
and I would
estaba en
sit in my
Campeche, me
hallway
sentaba
exhausted, and I could hear my
casa y oía a
friends
mis amigos
talking about who would
hablando
die
sobre
next,
quién iba a
who would
morir
fill
después,
that
quién iba a
bed
llenar
next
esa
in the
cama.
group, and why, if there is a God, was he not taking one of them right now? Now I'm approaching my 40s, and I'm not ordinary any longer. I have done extraordinary things in horrific times. The governor is going to have a fight on his hands. I want to thank the Los Angeles City Council for supporting this.
Thank you very much,
Muchas
Mr.
gracias, señor
President.
presidente.
All of you, thank you for
A
your
todos ustedes,
very
muchas
important
gracias por
reports, Wendy and
reportes
Gunther
y
and
Gunther y
Bradley.
Bradley.
I also want to say later today, as mentioned by Gunther, the Board of Supervisors
Ustedes de la
will
Cámara de
take up this
Comisiones van a
matter.
tomar este
Let's
asunto.
hope we have a unified
Entonces,
message
es
to
un
go to
mensaje unido
Sacramento.
para
The importance
Sacramento,
of
lo
funding
importante de
this
fondos,
program.
este programa.
This is something that
Eso es algo
affects so many people,
afecta a
and
tanta gente,
tragically,
y trágicamente,
the rise in the
el
community of
aumento de
AIDS,
la comunidad de SIDA,
in the Latino community
la comunidad
and youth
latina y
community
la
is
comunidad
very
de jóvenes es
significant.
muy
And
significante.
as it relates to the public
Y con
health
relación
system,
al
we
sistema de
must
salud,
fight for
debemos
this. We
pelear por
must
esto,
make
debemos
sure
estar
the
seguros
state
de que el Estado
continues to
continúe
fund this program.
fundar
So
este
members, I
programa.
ask for an aye vote. I know you all share this passion, but I think it's a really important message that we should send together. Thank you, Mr.
Gracias,
President.
señor presidente.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Labange, for your leadership on this, and I rise in full support of this, and glad I could second this, and I want to thank the city and the county, too, for their leadership. We do still have a public health emergency here, and the idea that we somehow can push that aside in difficult budget times. This is a matter of life and death. When 8,000 to 9,000 people are still becoming HIV positive each year in the state, the idea that they'd have to join a waiting list to get the drugs because some of them can't afford it is simply an injustice that cannot stand. I understand this is a difficult budget year, and with each thing that we cut, there's always somebody who says, you can't cut me. But when we know what it means to be HIV positive and not be able to get the drugs that are out there and that the state provides, this seems to be not only most kind of short or what's the word I'm looking for? It's very, very penny wise, pound foolish. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Had one of those senior moments way too early. For all of us, especially who have fought to make sure that the state steps up to a level that frankly still isn't even enough where it should be, the idea that we go backwards is absolutely unacceptable. Also, looking at the Medi-Cal reimbursement area too, I think we have so few physicians in this state that will accept Medi-Cal reimbursement. If we cut that further, those who don't have the means, who are HIV positive, as well as people with other health needs, that don't have the means to go to a private doctor will be further shut out. This affects especially areas in the outlying ring of Los Angeles and rural areas where we have fewer and fewer doctors. It's important for us not just to think about the city, but the rural areas of the state where sometimes people already have to drive 2 hours just to find one doctor who will accept Medi-Cal. If those 1 or 2 doctors drop off the list, we're talking about people having to drive 4 or 5 hours. So I fully support this. Thank you, Mr. Labange. I want to thank the city and county, too, for their great work. And let's make sure that with this resolution, that our representatives and the mayor's representatives up in Sacramento are very aggressive about making sure in the budget discussions that this does not get knocked off the table. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to expand on a couple of points. We're looking at AIDS drug assistance program, Medi-Cal reimbursement rates, AIDS prevention funding. It's a point that Councilman Labange touched on. I just want to expand on. And that in the communities of color, the assumption is it's a white male issue. And that is far from the truth. You look at the highest rates, you're looking at the Latino women who are suffering from AIDS. A lot of it has to do with the lack of information, lack of knowledge, unscrupulous partners to do what they do and come back and expect their spouses at home. And those are the spouses that are in the most vulnerable positions because they're not head of household. I'm talking about very traditional family settings in which this infection is just spreading and no one is talking about. And that is, if anything, something we need to start doing more of. It doesn't cost too much money to speak about how this is impacting families. If anything, the controversy I've been dealing with has allowed me to at least talk about that issue and the significance of how you inform, educate people as to the impact in many of these communities. And for that, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to it, and hopefully the governor, knowing that everyone is talking about spending and spending, there are certain issues that are truly about life and death. Thank you very much.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, members, Mr. President. Every opportunity I have to highlight some of the spending programs that you read about and hear about from some of the demagogues, this is an example of one of those spending programs. You've heard me say time and again, excuse me, that most of what we spent money on in the 1990s was education and healthcare. When I was elected to the State Assembly in 1994, I was assigned to the Budget Committee and the Appropriations Committee, and as a member of Budget, I had jurisdiction over this area. And I can tell you at that time, California was not leading the country with respect to AIDS prevention, funding, the ADAP program, Medi-Cal reimbursements and the like. And in 1994, we made a commitment, and through the time that I was there and beyond, this state was a leader with respect to what we were doing in this area of funding. And while it should be, because as you have heard testimony today, Los Angeles County has a third of all of the AIDS patients and people with AIDS and HIV in California. California, because of how large it is, leads the nation. We should be doing everything possible. So when you see people and hear them talk about cuts, and it's just spending, this is spending for public health, this is spending to save lives, this is spending that frankly is an investment in the future. And as Councilmember Reyes and others have said, we know that disproportionately, despite the fact of our best efforts, disproportionately, some of the people who weren't getting their fair share of that spending were people in the communities that Mr. Reyes spoke about. So I wholeheartedly support Councilmember Labange and Garcetti for putting this resolution forward, and hope that all of us agree unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Villaraigosa. Other members wishing to be heard on this item? If not, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motion shall be posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Garcetti requests to be excused Wednesday, March 17th to arrive at 10:45 for city business that meets council policy.
Mr. Garcetti is excused.
Councilmember Parks requests to be excused for tomorrow's meeting, Wednesday, February 18th, for city business that also meets council policy.
Mr. Parks is excused.
And that clears the desk.
Okay, we do have one card that has been submitted for general public comment, even though we had public comment at the beginning of our meeting this morning. Let's reopen public comment for today and hear from Joan Jackson.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joan Jackson, and I'm here to protest combining Children, Youth, and Their Families with 4 other commissions. The Children, Youth, and Their Families Commission has an interesting history. Our concern for children started with Mayor Bradley's Advisory Committee on Child Care. Reardon did not want his name attached to that committee, so we became the Metropolitan Advisory Child Care Committee. I volunteered to help write the language for the Commission on Children, Youth, and Their Families, and became a member of the Child Care Committee. Now we are taking a step backwards when there is still work for the Commission on Children, Youth, and Their Families to do. One, in the Los Angeles Times today, the CYA's problems are listed. But of course, that's state problems. That doesn't concern us. 2, the commission has not concerned themselves with foster children. But of course, that's county problems. That doesn't concern us. And finally, as president of Safety Belt Safe USA, which I am,
que yo soy,
there is nothing
no hay
in
nada
our new
en
safety
nuestros,
brochure about child passenger safety.
panfleto de eso.
So for
Seguridad
those
con los niños,
reasons,
y por
I
esa
would
razón
like
a mí me gustaría
to see
ver
that the Commission on
la
Children,
Comisión de
Youth, and Their
Niños y
Families
Juventud y sus
remain
familias que se queda
one commission.
una comisión.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you very much. This once again
Gracias. Esto una
concludes
vez
public
concluye el
comment for
comentario
today's
público
meeting.
para la Junta de hoy.
Madam Clerk,
Secretario.
is at the end of our
Es
agenda.
el final de
Yes,
nuestra
Mr.
sesión.
President.
Con eso
Done
terminamos.
housekeeping. Colleagues, do we have any announcements
Hacemos
today?
anuncios.
Announcements?
Anuncios.
Ms. Perry's district
Pero el
looked
distrito
marvelous
va a
over the
volver a ser el
weekend.
fin de semana.
A lot of activity around the Staples Center, the NBA All-Star game. Big economic boost to the city. Other announcements?
Los anuncios.
Mr. Garcetti?
President's Day, Mr. President. It was a good President's Day. Do you have a good President's Day, Mr. President?
I had a
Did
great
you get a
holiday.
discount at anywhere you went to, at the libraries that were open or cultural facility?
Lugares o bibliotecas.
Mr. Garcetti?
Just one quick announcement. Tonight at 6:30, the Knights of Columbus are going to be honoring the firefighters, citizens, and police officers of the year, both from Rampart and Wilshire divisions at 3409 West Temple at 6:30. Invite folks there. And I also wanted to congratulate Rich Llewellyn and Chris Caldwell for getting married this weekend.
Other announcements?
Otros anuncios.
Colleagues, if there's no other announcements, please rise for adjourning
Para
motions.
terminar.
If I can ask everybody to please stand. Adjourning tributes, beginning with Mr. Parks.
Empezando con nuestro Parks.
Chair, have two adjourning motions.
Tengo dos
Ask that we
mociones
adjourn in
para
memory of
terminar en memoria de
Harry Ito Sr., who just passed away, the
acaba de morir.
father of Harry Ito, who works with us on a daily basis,
trabaja con
represents
nosotros,
LAPD
representa
as a council liaison. He was over 90 years old and just passed away yesterday.
Y murió
Also,
ayer.
had asked that we
También
adjourn
pedimos que
in
All
honor.
members. That'll be all members.
All members. Also asked that we adjourn in honor of Earl of Fari Hutchison Sr., who died at the age of 100. He was the oldest black American to write his memoirs. His son, who we all know is a noted author in his own right, and also radio personality, and certainly Mr. Earl of Fari Hutchison Sr. has written many books. The one that he's most famous for is his memoirs, A Colored Man's Journey in Segregated America, and certainly it's given wide acclaim. His services will be memorial services on Friday at 11 a.m. at Holman Methodist Church on 3320 West Avenue.
All members. Mr.
Mr.
LeBlanc.
President, Hutchinson lived in my district, and I just went to his 100th birthday party a couple of months ago out at Marie Callender's on Wilshire, and he was an absolutely wonderful, lively man. If you could live to be 100 and still be lively, what a wonderful man he was. And he had his whole family around, which is so important. And when he talked, his Councilmember Parks spoke about his obituary. As a postal clerk, he was relegated to the back, but he fought his way to the front and made great changes in the postal system, which is so important when you look at the whole civil service system, how it's helped integrate this country through fights and struggles of many people, and he was part of that fight. But he truly was a great man who lived in the Park La Brea community and lived a good 100 years, and if we all could live wouldn't that be a joy? God bless his memory and his family.
Other tributes?
Otros tributos.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Y habla lista. Con esto terminamos.
Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.